And we go into another very, very important theme. The second stage is about tourism. And I welcome, we have 3 guests connecting today with us. We have, first of all, Francesca Planeta, co-owner of Planeta Estates. Is Francesca connected? Just a second. Okay. Then we have IC, and I welcome Linsey Simpson Gallagher, President and CEO of Visit Napa Valley. Welcome, Linsey. It's a pleasure to host you today in Milan from Napa Valley. I really missed Napa Valley, and so I was very happy when the other guest, my friend Filippo Magnani, invited you. Hi, Filippo. Welcome. We're waiting for Francesca to join us. Okay. So, Linsey, let's start from the Napa Valley. So, how are the things, first of all, there right now? Because we had some people, some speakers coming from the Napa Valley, some producers.
Hello, sorry, here I am.
Hi, Francesca, welcome. How are you?
Sorry, here.
Hi. Linsey, so I was saying that they gave us an impression of a critical moment for the Napa Valley producers. Can you tell us something about this, please?
Yes, hi, good morning. It's nice to be with you. Thank you for including me in the program today. We are in the midst of an active wildfire situation in the Napa Valley this week. This is the second wildfire situation that we've had since August. And on top of the COVID situation, this has been very challenging for the Napa Valley. But I am happy to say that the fire is almost fully contained at this point in time. And we are moving into our recovery and collaboration phase in the Napa Valley now, wanting to prepare for to welcome visitors back again and to come together in a way that the Napa Valley always does when we face these situations like the crisis is at hand. But I am happy to report that there were, while there was physical damage from the fires, we had no loss of life that we're aware of now. And the weather is improving. We actually might get a little bit of rain this weekend, and we have blue skies and beautiful weather for the next few days. So.
Okay. So, over the last 2 decades, Linsey, Napa Valley generated a tremendous interest for the tourism, and Napa Valley has reached levels of excellence and an exceptional economic importance, the wine tourism side in your land. Can you recount the story for us of Napa Valley as the best case study to look for?
Absolutely. If it's okay, I'm going to try to go ahead and share some slides so that I can show you some visuals of the Napa Valley while I'm talking today, if that's okay. So,
okay.
Let's see, Ken. Are you able to see this picture now? Looks like the slides are up. Okay, so obviously the Napa Valley is one of the most famous wine growing regions in the world. We have wines of the highest quality, cultivated with excellence in one of the world's most extraordinary places. I think that in addition to having world-class wine, it's very important to us in the Napa Valley that we have world-class hospitality, and that we exceed expectations when people come to visit us in the Napa Valley. Just very quickly, I'll give you some background information on where the Napa Valley is and basically what its relative size is based on the California and U.S. wine growing industry. So the Napa Valley is this area in orange here, just to the north of the San Francisco Bay. This is the west coast of the United States. The Pacific Ocean is just off to the west of us here. We're about 58 kilometers from the ocean, and that ocean is always cold. So that's our natural air conditioner. Our distance to San Francisco is 77 kilometers, and we're about almost 600 kilometers from Los Angeles. In Napa Valley, we have 16 distinct American viticultural areas, or AVAs, and so we have a tremendous amount of soil diversity, climate diversity, and weather and soil diversity. So we have the 16 different wine growing regions within our small valley. We are a small region, and we have a lot of small producers in the Napa Valley. We make 4% of California's wine. So our reputation is very significant, and we're known around the world, but yet we only produce 4% of the wine that comes from California. Incidentally, California produces around 90% of the wine in the United States. There are other states that produce wine, Washington, Oregon, New York, and others, but certainly most of the wine from the United States comes from California. And yet the Napa Valley, producing 4% of California wine, is only 0.4% of wine from on a global scale. So a very small region with very small producers. 78% of the Napa Valley Vintners members produce less than 10,000 cases of wine a year. So a lot of family-owned wineries with small amounts of production. Even some of our larger wineries are still family-owned and operated in their 4th or 5th generation in the Napa Valley. And these are the top varieties that we produce. I think we're obviously most well known for Cabernet Sauvignon and Chardonnay. We are a relatively warm wine growing region, but also produce Merlot, Sauvignon Blanc, Pinot Noir, Zinfandel, Cabernet Franc, Petit Syrah, and Syrah, among others. So those are the varieties we produce. And then here you'll see that 15% of the total California wine grape harvest is Cabernet Sauvignon, our signature varietal. 47% of Napa Valley's wine grape harvest is Cabernet Sauvignon. So really that is the primary variety that comes from the Napa Valley, and I think the variety that does the best in our soil and in our climate and in our environment. And then 67% of the value of wines produced in the Napa Valley are Cabernet Sauvignon. So that is certainly an economic driver for our region overall. So that gives you an idea of what the Napa Valley is like as a wine growing region. Excuse me. Now I want to talk a little bit about Visit Napa Valley, which is the tourism organization for the Valley. And we are the official destination management organization for Napa County. We promote the region of Napa Valley as an attractive travel destination. And we also try to enhance its public image as a dynamic place to live, to work, and to visit. Our vision is to elevate the Napa Valley as the world's premier wine country experience, and our mission is to promote, protect, and enhance the Napa Valley. In terms of Napa Valley's tourism, this is a slide that makes me a little bit sad to present now, because this is the impact that the Napa Valley tourism industry had on our small community of 140,000 people. And this is prior to COVID, so we don't know yet how this is going to evolve and change once we are able to gather and travel in normal patterns again. But just so you, in a general sense, you see that we would normally welcome 3.85 million people to our Napa Valley. 80% of those are domestic visitors, 20% international, and 35% of those visitors are coming to stay in our hotels, and 65% are day trip visitors who come in and out for one day and don't stay in a hotel. With that being said, those 3.85 million people contribute $2.2 billion to support our local economy in the Napa Valley. Overnight hotel guests contribute 70% of that spending. So obviously my organization, Visit Napa Valley, is very focused on trying to drive overnight visitation in the Napa Valley, because of course, if people stay in our hotels, they will have more time to explore our wineries, dine in our restaurants, support our retail shops, and enjoy the wonderful Napa Valley lifestyle. And all of this is important because, as I said previously, we are a small community of 140,000 residents, and yet $85 million in tax revenue comes into our community from visitors from all over the world, and it creates 16,000 jobs in our Napa Valley, which is the second largest employer after the wine industry. So now I just want to show you a little video to showcase some of the beautiful backdrops and the hospitality that you can expect here in the Napa Valley. And hopefully this will play. Let's see. Bear with me 1 second. Sorry. Okay.
Inspired by our delightful landscape of rolling hills and grapevines, beckoning visitors in with an air of sophistication that is both carefree and genuine. May they be bubbly or bold, young or old, visit Napa Valley's new look welcomes all to experience a taste of the good life.
Okay, so that just gives you an idea of what we look like here in the Napa Valley and how we like to welcome people to our restaurants, to our spas, to enjoy our iconic lifestyle. If it makes sense at this point, I will just show you a few slides of how we have responded in the COVID situation and how that has impacted our tourism. And then obviously we'll hear from the rest of the panelists. We have a phased messaging strategy in the Napa Valley as we have gone through the phases of complete shutdown of our tourism industry and the gradual and safe reopening of it. So in our first phase from March through May, we were trying to communicate, really to send out a heartbeat from the Napa Valley and say, well, you can't visit us now. We are here and we will be here again when it's safe to travel. But in the meantime, we tried to have a lot of digital and virtual experiences that for the Napa Valley were quite successful. We had we were hearing a lot of people working from home and we're seeing the hashtag WFH for working from home. And we changed that to wine from home. And we're able to incorporate wine into the situation where everybody found themselves having to shelter in place and stay at home. We were really able to use technology to bring the Napa Valley to life in a way that we hadn't leveraged in the past. So I think this is ultimately going to be an opportunity for us to continue to leverage technology as we move forward. We were able to open up our hotels again in June after being closed for almost 3 months. And so once we were able to do that, we started to promote both to our local community to encourage them to explore their own backyard and help our hospitality businesses get back on their feet and function again. And then we also changed our strategy a bit to, instead of communicating to a global audience or even a US domestic audience, we were focusing right on the people who are 1 hour away and could drive to the Napa Valley. So we went from a very wide communication strategy to a very close by road trip staycation driven approach to encourage people to come and see us, because we know that the comfort level and the safety are not where they normally would be, and so people from around the world couldn't come. So we had a local focused campaign to encourage people to explore their own backyard. We did a regional campaign to talk about the drive market coming to visit us and saying, when you're ready to travel again and you're feeling comfortable, we will be ready to safely welcome you back to the Napa Valley. And now we're finding ourselves in a little bit of relaxation of those restrictions, and we are promoting to a little bit wider audience beyond just that drive market. And we're encouraging everybody to come visit our wide open spaces and come see us in the Napa Valley again when they feel that it's safe to travel again. This is what our hotel occupancy looks like over the course of the pandemic. You can see we would normally be in the green line between 70 and 90% occupied in our hotels. And that went all the way down to 10% as our hotels closed for 3 months. And then we've gradually started to reopen again and are hovering around 50% occupancy in our hotels, which is about 40% below where we would normally be. But we've also used this as an opportunity to talk about the unique experiences you can have in a safe and COVID-friendly way in the Napa Valley, and how serious. We talk a lot about how our safety and wellness protocols are being adapted by all of our hospitality industry. From wineries to restaurants to hotels. We talk about the small luxury properties that we have and the unique and small format experiences you can have in the Napa Valley while we are continuing to navigate this COVID pandemic. So with that, I think I will stop sharing my slides, and I know we're going to have much more conversation today about these two very regions that are far away from one another physically, but I think have a lot of similarities in terms of welcoming people.
Thank you very much, Linsey. It was a great outlook to the current situation, to the model of Napa Valley. Francesca, you are an architect of rediscovering Sicily from different point of views. What about your mission to promote, protect, and enhance the Sicily as a wine destination?
Well, first of all, I think hello and thank you to everybody. I'll just recap a bit of who's Planeta. Planeta is Sicily, really. It's a family-owned business that started in '95 with its first winery in Memphis, where our origins come from, which is in the southwest of the island. And in the years we've moved around the island, looking at the diversity of the island and looking at different places where viticulture was historically very present and needed to have a new value and a new way of producing wine. So we moved from Memphis to Vittoria, which is the area of Ceresolo di Vittoria, then to Noto, then Etna and Capomilazzo. This was in the terms of wineries. Every place where Planeta produces, we have our boutique winery, so we produce 100% of the wines in the area. And then hospitality came, I'd say, like really naturally, because we started, of course, with our first visitors, which were the business, the B2B, and so on. And we understood that we were people that were coming to the island and were coming to visit. They were really excited not only about the wines, of course, but about the beauty of the island, the beauty of the landscape, which I think the person and the family has a big influence and impact, of course, also on the landscape around the wineries. And so they were attracted by the history, the story, the food. Of course, we have to talk also about the Sicilian food, which has a great, very well known around the world. But really, when people come to Sicily, they really can find the right ingredients and the right quality. So this made us to open, first of all, our wineries at the beginning, and to open to visitors, so to pass from B2B to B2C. And then we decided to open a boutique hotel, a wine resort, which is called La Foresteria, which is in the area of Memphis. And after that, we decided to open also in Palermo, where we have apartment hotels. So Planeta slowly moved to a B2B concept to a B2C. Today, Planeta has between the wineries, the hotel, and the hotels and the resort and the restaurant, which is in the hotel La Foresteria, around 15,000 visitors per year. which maybe in front of the numbers of Napa Valley, which we just saw, is not really a big number. But again, for Sicily, it's interesting also because we really, when you go to Napa Valley, I mean, you go really only to see, or on purpose to see and to visit those beautiful vineyards and wineries. But when you come to Sicily, there's so much history and so much culture that you have to, the visitors have to divide their time between a monument or a temple and also a winery. What has been what we've done? I think we didn't really, must say, invent anything, but we've been really, what I would say, authentic, like a family or a family business, or like a winery or a southern Italian family would be. You know, open your doors to your home. And this has been started, as I said before, really inviting the first clients, but then it became really something that was part of, today it's part of the important economy of not only our family and not only our business, but also of the whole of the island. What has been important in these what we've created, that which was something probably new for Sicily, was to represent, to give the opportunity to our visitors to get into Planeta through. I think the most important thing the most important thing is the people. So we worked a lot on the people, because I think, you know, tourism today is made of people, and, you know, the experiences, you can create the best experience you want, but if you have the people that are really passionate and they love what they're doing and they love what they're talking about, then that makes a difference. So in Planeta, what we started off with creating, say, an office where the people, who wants to book today a visit at Planeta, they can book a visit at Planeta at a winery. They can book at the same time, but the people, they will talk about the hotel, they will talk about the restaurant, they will talk about the wine at the same time. So we have an office, some people dedicated to the first part of the introduction of Planeta when people are calling for a visit. Then the second part, and we did a lot of work in terms of training, training in order to give the maximum satisfaction to the customer. The other thing that we worked a lot, which I think is very important, is the people at the winery. When today someone is coming to visit, you have a person totally dedicated to your visit, totally dedicated to what we already know when you arrive to a winery, what this person is expecting. So we have created different experiences that the people can book, of course, when they are coming to the winery or to the restaurant or to the hotel, and depending on what the person or what the target is looking for, then our visit will be totally tailor-made for them. This is, I think, it's very important, because in order also to make this the organization, which when you say tailor-made, then you can't have like every person asking for a different thing, but we try to understand which were the most important experiences that our visitors were asking for. That sometimes it could have been a culture experience, sometimes it can be food experience, sometimes it would have been like vertical wine or aged wine experiences. So we created a calendar where every week you can choose on one of these experiences that the Planeta is offering, and we can also put all the groups together. So in that occasion, as I say, on a Wednesday, we would have like a cooking lesson with a Nero Tavola experience. All the people that are interested in Nero Tavola experience and cooking lessons, they will be put together in order that they can share together their experience. The other, I think, important what has made also, the differences is also what we've been working a lot on the social media in order to really promote the wines that not only has just drinking a moment at table, but really, and not only with drinking, just about talking only about the bottle or what the wine are made for, but what's around the story of that wine, what's around the story. So a lot of information about the territory, the people, the varieties, what's around the area. So when you're talking about Memphis, for example, which is our region, then we'll talk about the little towns where people can visit. We will talk about the story of the variety of the vineyard and the people who are making the wines in the area, in order that you can really get into an authentic story, an authentic experience.
Okay, thank you very much, Francesca. Filippo, what is the role of technology in the growth of the wine tourism market, which is growing up so much? We had a great demonstration this year in Italy after the COVID emergency. The tourism changed so much, and the technology can help so much the growth of many places, many territories that need to grow so much.
Okay, there are different aspects of seeing what technology and innovation can do for wine tourism, of course. If I look at three main points that probably it could be very good to underline in these discussions. First of all, as a general introduction, I would say that and devices must only help people to engage and to enhance the traveling process in certain destinations. We have to think that tourism is a high labor, high human contact service. So I know that today it's difficult to talk about this because we are post-COVID. So I think, but this is the introduction. We have to be back to this main part of an authentic, high quality, flexible, personalized experience on stage in the vineyards and the winery. Of course, when we talk about nowadays, we need to, I think COVID taught us to use technology in a proper manner. So helping, for example, wineries for installing, for example, especially in Italy, more digital devices at the wineries. For helping, for example, visitors, I am thinking about free Wi-Fi for everybody. That is very easy to, to get even profile from people who are at the winery who subscribe and subscription at the winery using Wi-Fi. In certain way, they also the Wi-Fi help especially young generation, millennials, and I would add generation Z to be more engaged at the wineries during the visit. So this is the first point. When we think about how to sell and how to promote, so the commercialization of certain wine experiences, of course, nowadays, I am a part of more concentrating on offline marketing, sales, and organization as a tour operator, but we have to think also online. I think during today you had a beautiful example of online marketplaces of selling and promoting wine experiences through the web. So we have to really be aware that using technology is a tool of helping travelers to be more safe. For example, with the H24, so H24 assistant travelers during the moment outside of the home, for helping them for assisting them during their travel. On the other side, helping wineries to be more active, not only for social, but also during the wine tasting at the winery in the future for sure, and helping wine travel operator to position it better their products, their experience all over the web.
Okay, thank you very much, Filippo. Linsey, we are talking about millennials today, and we have a strong millennial audience to this event. The approach from the millennial generation to tourism is all about experience. So what is, in your opinion, the recipe to create great experiences and to open a bigger market for the millennials?
Yes, absolutely. You know, we see this as a huge opportunity in the Napa Valley, of course. We have a core demographic traveling audience, as I'm sure many wine regions do, that skews a little bit older into the 50 and 60-year-old range. And so we need to figure out ways to communicate that are meaningful and that won't alienate that core traveler, but at the same time, we need to be innovative and approachable and interesting for a younger audience as well. And so we have been focusing a lot on experiences in order to bridge that gap. To add to what Filippo said, it's very important from a technology standpoint that we have, as he said, access to Wi-Fi so that those all-important Instagram moments can be shared in real time. And that's a generation where it's very important to be able to have unique experiences and to be able to share those immediately. And so we are working hard to continue to attract our core traveler, but also to be innovative and dynamic and really offer a depth of experience at our wineries. We have seen in the Napa Valley, especially with a younger audience, in the past, people would come and visit, 5 or 7 wineries in one day, and it was all about how many well-known brands could you visit. Now we're seeing that they go to, especially the younger audience, only goes to 2 or 3 wineries during a day. They stay much longer, and they're expecting a behind-the-scenes, a unique experience. It needs to be a beautiful setting. They often like to participate in the process of winemaking. So if they can do a blending session, or if they can, see the crush pad during the harvest season, that type of experience where you are able to participate and understand the process, but also with a very iconic and beautiful setting, are things I think that do well with a younger demographic. And another thing that we are spending a lot of time thinking about in the Napa Valley is that we have a reputation for being a very, very serious and very much a world-class wine producing region. But I think in the past, we almost had a very exclusive reputation, meaning that it wasn't for everybody. And it was and that is not very interesting for a millennial audience. And so we're working hard to show the rustic elegance of the Napa Valley and to show not just the beautiful, polished, perfect side of it, but much more to show the people, as Francesca said, and who are the people behind the label, whose name is on the bottle, but this is a family that is farming a vineyard and making the grapes and harvesting each season. And so how do you bring that storytelling aspect to life, that really the people are the fabric of the Napa Valley, and how do we tell those stories? And how do we also allow our younger consumers, certainly any of our visitors, but primarily the younger ones who are interested in getting their hands into the process and experiencing it for themselves. That's been successful for us in attracting visitors in a younger demographic.
Okay, thank you very much, Linsey. Francesca, you come from an incredible, sensitive, aesthetic territory. How do you communicate these characteristics, these unique characteristics to the millennials?
Yes, I'm trying to explain better the point before. I mean, as you say, the millennials, the type of tourism, the tourists or visitors that have arrived in the last, I would say, few years, not more than 5 years, I would, in at least talking about Sicily, are as totally different. I mean, they are moving into an experience, as Linsey said. People come and they probably want to, I mean, of course, they maybe don't have in Sicily so close winery that they can visit free in a day. But when they're coming really to live the day with us. It's not just, you know, the visit to 1 hour taste and go like it was probably some time ago. Now it's, you know, coming to the winery, looking at the landscape, talking about the wine, the family, the experience. I mean, this year, for example, I mean, it's been a very, of course, a different year from all of the others, but I think we learned a lot. We saw a lot of young people, a lot of millennials, and they were just coming to stay at open air and looking at a beautiful landscape in front of a glass of wine. They wanted to know about the family, about the story. They wanted to know how we passed the lockdown. You know, you got into a much more, say, personal way of knowing each other. It wasn't just, you know, talking about the wine, and they were just wanting to just live the place where we live, which we live every day, and we're sort of trying to dream, you know, about a life which certainly today looks much more healthier, of course, than what we've discovered, especially in this year, in the big cities and so on. So, what other, from another thing that we like to attract the millennials through is also events, for example, and different activities that you can do at the winery. We brought in artists, we brought in theater activities, we brought in food fairs and so on. So every theme that must be totally authentic, must be typical of the area, because I mean, of course, when we go on Etna, we will talk about maybe mushrooms and meat, or and talk about volcanic salt and so on. When you go to Noto, you talk about the Barocco, and you talk about, so every place, it's of course has to be typical, and every event that you create in the area has to be in harmony with the place where you're taking the event. And this type of activities have helped a lot to bring people to know, you know, to know about Planeta, to know about the wines, but through an activity that was probably of their first interest, and then they knew more also about the wine. So all these are certainly activities that are very important in order to have the millennials and have their and to go towards their needs.
Okay, thank you very much. Filippo, I want to start a question for the three of you. I start from you, Filippo. If you were a consultant for an emerging territory for wine tourism, what are the first 2 or 3 advices that you would give? We have so many emerging territories. We have so many territories that can have incredible results with wine tourism. We are in Milan. We have many wonderful places right around Milan that don't have an actual development about this. And they would need people to to help them, you know, to increase, sometimes to start the actual wine tourism. What would be the first 2, 3 advices, briefly, that you would give to these people?
Yes, 4 advices. First of all, to analyze people who arrive as a main motivation wine, so wine tourism in the territory. So the profile is they need to know the profile of those people. Especially in Italy, sometimes we lack of profile, of segmentation, something that they have done tremendously good in Napa, for example. So to analyzing the segments of people. Second, to set up a group of professionals, so wine producer, wine travelers, 1 or 2 journalists who are setting a strategic plan to develop one destination of this specific area. What can include this plan? First of all, analyzing the specific authenticity, not only in terms of wine, but in terms of tourism, in terms of a system which welcome people, in terms of organization, in terms of beauty of landscape. Third, to establish a proper objectives in terms of where we want to go, in which time period of time, and try hard to maintain, to protect our strength that in Italy, only in Italy, from my point of view, we have is the Italian way of life. On the Italian way of life, so wine as a main driver for wine tourism, around wine to consolidate not only production, but to consolidate, organize, and plan the wine tourism in a proper way.
Thank you very much. Francesca?
I'll be a little bit more short. I think, there are 3 or 4 words that I suggest, and it's quality, professionality, authenticity, and engagement. 4.
Wow. Very quick, but very efficient. Linsey, we'll finish with your advices to the Italians especially.
Look, I think it's one of the most magical things for me is the way that wine and hospitality can come together. And I think that, you need to have the world-class wine, and the quality needs to be there, as both Francesca and Filippo said. But it's also, when people come to a place and you deliver a unique experience, they fall in love with it, and they will continue to drink the wines, and hopefully you will give them a reason to come back and visit you again. So I think, really each region needs to find those points of intersection between wine and hospitality, but really what is the magic for people who come to see you, and how can you use how can we use technology to tell that story while we are limited in our ability to travel, and then how do you then convert that into an on-site visitation when we're able to travel again. And in the meantime, we've really seen wine having its moment right now in the United States, at least during the COVID pandemic. People have really turned to wine as the beverage of choice to help them endure this craziness. And so we've also seen them not only returning to wine and away from other alcoholic beverages, but also turning to brands that they know and they trust. And so for us in the Napa Valley, we're very hopeful that when it is safe to travel again in meaningful numbers, that people will come back. They will have had a great Napa Valley wine experience, either digitally or technology, or at least in their home as they've been sheltering in place, and that they'll be very excited to come out and visit us again in the Napa Valley and experience that for themselves. So again, I think it's all about that magical intersection between hospitality and wine that we're so lucky and so fortunate to get to talk about today, and to work in these industries.
Thank you very much, Linsey. So thank you very much for what you gave us today. The Wine Generation Forum is an annual laboratory. We meet every year in Milan during Milan Wine Week, but we want to work together also during the year, and we'll invite you even during the year to continue talking about these themes. We are in a situation which is changing a lot every day. I just saw the numbers that we have in Italy today for the COVID that are increasing, so the situation is really changing every day, every hour. But I think that the most important thing in these moments is to have the possibility of building networking, of sharing experiences, because it's the only way to deal with this situation and to find the new strategies. So thank you very much for your contribution. Linsey, I can wait to see you in Milan next year, and I hope you will join us because that will be the chance of traveling back in Italy, and I can wait to come back in Napa Valley. Thank you very much, Francesca. I hope to see you sooner in Sicily, of course. And thank you very much, Filippo. And I see you soon. And our talk continues. Big clap to our guests.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Grazie mille.
Bye.